This podcast was brought to you by Uncle G Productions. Hey guys, and welcome everyone to the Shiver G podcast. I'm Uncle G, and with me as agitated host of DRIPMEDIA Gaming. We record this podcast live.
And if I seem a bit agitated, yes.
Every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can find us on Apple, Spotify, or anywhere you can find a podcast. You can also listen to us, watch us on YouTube. This intro was messed up on courtesy of Uncle G Productions. This week, Drip, we get agitated with Stephen A. Smith. No, just kidding.
We do.
We're talking.
And if I seem a bit agitated, yes.
We're talking about switch to related things. It's actually Nintendo made a big purchase, a big acquisition of Shiver Studios. Drip, yarg, she blows. She blows. So we're gonna talk about that acquisition and why you should care at home. Shiver me timbers. But first, we're gonna pop right into what is it we're popping into, Drip?
Our sponsor.
No, not right now. We got two things to do before that. The first thing we need to do is make a couple announcements. First announcement, everybody. Tomorrow night is the Members Pod. So if you are a member of our YouTube channel, there's quite a few of you right now. There is a YouTube podcast that's happening tomorrow night live, as we always do our Members Podcasts. And Drip and I can make fun of each other. That's what we're going to be doing, making fun of each other by watching old content. And this next Members Pod is going to be podcast content. So some of our oldest episodes. And Drip, I have good news. I was playing around on my Twitch earlier last week, I should say, and I found a lot of our old Twitch live stream podcasts. So
really?
Video. We have the audio. We have the audio of them. Like that's up on our
You found
our
the
feed.
video, though.
But I have the video feed of some of them, the ones that were on my channel. So
okay, well that's good.
We're
enough.
gonna go there. We're gonna go straight there.
Yikes,
from my
that's
Twitch
really
VODs.
old. That is so
and watch some very
good.
To give you guys context, we've been doing this since early 2021. We're now in middle of 2024, and in content years, that is an absolute eternity. It's an absolute eternity.
Yeah.
So if you guys want to see us and hear us and watch us sound pretty bad, that's tomorrow night on the Members Pod. We have another announcement, Drip. Do you have any announcement music?
I have the Star Spangled Banner.
Do it. Ladies and gentlemen, we have been teasing for the past, basically month at this point, that we would be giving away a $50 eShop gift card. I have great news. We're giving it away next week, everybody! Stay tuned. Next week, next Wednesday, to be exact, the 29th, we will be announcing live on our show who the winner of the $50 eShop gift card is. So if you were looking to pick up Thousand Year Door, or if you were looking to pick up Luigi's Mansion 2, or any of the awesome indie stuff that's going on right now, and Drip, that's eShop, right? Or were you going to allow them to pick where they want? It's eShop. It's eShop? Okay. I want to double check. So eShop gift cards. So if you guys want to win that, you guys know the way to do that. And that is segueing to that exact topic, right? That exact thing here tonight. We're going to read a 5-star review. If you leave a 5-star review on our Apple Podcasts feed, you have a chance to win a $50 eShop gift card. And this week's
Do you need the Star Spangled Banner to read the
yes.
the 5-star review?
Yeah, I do. I do.
I thought so.
Of course.
Okay.
Is that a question? Is that a question? This week's review is sent by Johnny Ebbs. John Ebbs is the name.
Sounds familiar. I think I know that guy.
The title of the review is Piracy is Bad. That sounds really familiar. One of the best podcasts out there, but they are bad at Mario Kart. And if I seem a little bit agitated, yes.
Stop. Right there. Love the review. Appreciate it. Make sure you guys leave yours to win the gift card next week. Yeah. You know, you got 1 week left, so make sure you do it. 2, John Ebo, I'm going to call you out right now. You got 2 on your podcast. We got 2 here. You want to talk shit about some Mario Kart? Bring it. The Drip and G podcast will kick your asses, okay? I'm just calling you out right now. Competition. 2 versus 2, tag team, whatever you want it to be. We can do races, we can do battle, whatever you want. We will beat you. You've been called out. So you respond in any way you feel you need to, but we're here. We're waiting.
Next Friday, Drip, you better be available. Next Friday, I am streaming Mario Kart 8 Deluxe on my Twitch channel. And I expect Johnny and Cheesy to show up to represent their podcast. Sorry to drag Cheesy into this, but this is Johnny's. This is Johnny's doing.
That's what happens when your boy talks shit.
Handle your boy, Cheesy. Handle your boy. We are battling the communication error guys next Friday, and if they don't show, we'll take that as a sign that they give up.
That's fear. That's fear. Clearly fear.
I don't fear them at all. So if listen, last Friday, the Friday before, I was streaming Mario Kart, and I wiped the floor with my entire audience. I'm not gonna lie, until Waddles came in.
Yeah, you did pretty good.
Until
I was raging.
I know you were. So listen, I'm not gonna say I'm the front runner to help the team win and not whatnot. But
hey,
listen.
There was a lot of times when I was second place. I was right there. Don't act like I wasn't right there.
Mm-hmm. So Johnny,
I'm a little rusty.
Cheesy, I'm sorry, but Johnny, bring your boy into this. We're racing next Friday. And if you got some bogus thing like, oh, I gotta hang out with my wife, or
I gotta hang now,
I'm having a kid and I can't, we're busy right now. I don't want to hear any of those excuses. By the way, congratulations on the kid, Cheesy. I don't want to hear any of those excuses. Okay, bogus.
None of it.
Fight us via Mario Kart. Where are you? Exactly. We'll be looking all around. And with that, Mr. Drip Media, we have to get to today's sponsor, and today's sponsor is Fixture Gaming. Drip, I know you and I use a ton of Nintendo Switch accessories, but there's nothing quite like the Fixture S2 on the market. The Fixture S2 mount connects the Nintendo Switch OLED to the Pro Controller and makes a comfortable and reliable alternative to Joy-Cons. If you're like me and you find Joy-Cons to be a bit cramped and actually hurt your hands after a long period of time, the Fixture S2 is exactly what you're looking for. Drip, I know you've been using the Fixture 1 for a long time. You had Fixture 2 right there. And you actually made a video on the Fixture 1 a long time ago.
Yeah, when it first came out.
Yeah.
I loved it then. I love this one now. I'm actually going to have a new video on the Fixture S2 and its brand new feature, which is the fact that it now works with the 8BitDo Ultimate controller and the 8BitDo Ultimate C. So you have other options now. So now you have comfort not only with the Pro controller, but you can get it with the 8BitDo Ultimate controllers, which are also great controllers. I do like this thing. Very, very comfortable. And right now, you can use code DRIPMEDIA on fixturegaming.com. Is that correct? Is that the right website?
Fixturegaming.com. It's in our description.
Got that right, too. And you can get $10 off. Not 10% off, $10 off whatever you buy off their site, and that stacks on any other sales they have going on. So that's a great deal. Make sure you check that out.
Yeah. Shout out once again to our community member Sims, who already took advantage of that deal that we know of. If you guys took advantage of that deal, hit us up on social media in our Discord. We'll shout you out because we love our Fixture products. Absolutely. It has not left my Switch, besides when it's docked like it is right now. Has not left my Switch. Love it so much. And again, you go to fixturegaming.com. All that information is in our description, including this discount code. Copy and paste it on over to your browser and get yourself a good deal on Fixture products. Thank you, Fixture. Thank you, Fixture, for sponsoring today's episode. I guess thanks Fixture too. I don't know who they are, but thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. That'd be a good one.
Agitated, yes.
Oh, are you agitated, Jerome? I don't think you're agitated. I think you're actually pretty happy about the announcement we got. Although it's not really all that exciting on the surface.
It's interesting.
It is interesting. So
I think that's what it is. It's interesting.
If you guys didn't hear, Nintendo purchased a company. And no, it wasn't a $15 billion acquisition or whatever actually was it $79 billion? I don't know what it was. A multi-billion-dollar deal like Microsoft just did, and billion-dollar deals that Sony does on the reg just as well. This is a much, much smaller acquisition from Nintendo, but seemingly could be really important going forward. And that's what we're going to talk about tonight. And that is the purchase of Shiver Studios. Yarg, Shiver Me Studios from the Embracer Group. They're responsible for games such as Hogwarts Legacy and multiple Mortal Kombat entries. So
Mortal Kombat 1 and 11 on the Switch, to be exact.
Now,
let's be honest. Let's stop right there for a second. Those ports were not great
at launch. I believe they have fixed the most recent one. Was it 11?
Mortal Kombat 11 looks bad, but it does run decent. Well, which I guess in a fighting game, that's all that matters.
Mortal Kombat 1, they have fixed. I do believe it's not perfect. Of course, when it launched, we talked about it on the show, it was kind of a joke. But they have fixed it over time, and that's just because they have only so much time and resources to work on stuff. hint, hint, wink, wink, wink to later on the show we're going to talk about. But
Yeah.
they did
Well, you gotta
eventually,
remember that, too.
with
That's
some
not anything
patches,
to
they
do
did
with
eventually
Nintendo.
fix stuff.
Yeah, that has nothing to do with the Nintendo. That's how much WB Games was willing to pay them for their time to do the port. And you only get so much time with however much money you have. So
yeah, imagine, Drip, if they had all the time and resources in the world to work on stuff like that.
imagine that.
Imagine that. We'll get to that in a minute. But yeah, it's an interesting acquisition from of Shiver. They're clearly talented, although, like we just said, they had rocky starts with Mortal Kombat 1, and Hogwarts Legacy does not look good. I mean, it's objectively not a good-looking game on the Switch.
Come on.
That's no. Hold on, Drip. Hold on. That is no fault of Shiver. I don't want that to sound like I'm just going to get to the fact that that's not to do with Shiver. I think that it's a miracle of what the game actually looks like.
It's hardware limitations.
It's a miracle they got this game running on a 2015 tablet, Android tablet, basically. Yeah, so like it's a miracle. It is stable, and that's kind of what's important about it. But again, it's not like they 1080p 60 FPS crazy masterpieces. No, they're working with what they got. The Switch is only so powerful.
Yeah.
So you might be thinking at home, like, why is this even like? Why do you care about this? Like, who cares about this small studio? Like I said, they're very talented. Like, clearly this is a talented team. Those are multiple ports there that we know of that are very good.
That's what they do.
Yeah, and that they specialize clearly in making
porting
ports.
things. Go ahead. Yeah, that's what they do. I mean, that's what this company is. They're actually, what's another thing is interesting about this, they're US based. They're in Miami, I'm pretty sure.
Welcome to
Miami.
Miami.
They're a US based company, which, I mean, I don't know if that really means anything crazy, but it's interesting that they're not a Japanese company, being Nintendo and the way that they run things and operate.
Yeah, that is notable.
Yeah, it's interesting. But yeah, they port things. And what's a buzzword with the Switch we've used its entire life? Ports. If they're not coming from the Wii U, they're coming from the PlayStation 3 or the Xbox this or that. It's old games, third-party games, and sometimes current games, like what that was another little buzzword we used to use, the impossible ports, like The Witcher 3. But that was done by Saber. And I think that's another interesting thing that we don't have in our notes here that I want to talk about. Why? What is the name of this?
Shiver me timbers.
Why them? Why not somebody like Panic Button, who's done crazy ports, like awesome ports to the Switch? Or Saber, who's done awesome ports for the Switch? Why is it this company that they've chosen? Like, okay, this is the one we're gonna get. What do they have? What do they know? What's the secret thing? You know what I mean? So there's got to be a reason. And I know we talked yesterday. You said it might just be that this one was just for sale and the others weren't, which is probably the case. But even if they were for sale and they didn't have like something special, Nintendo's not just going to buy up anybody, because they don't do that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like we see Microsoft doing this stuff. They're buying whoever they can buy.
Well, let me say this, Drip. Nintendo, we have an article that actually I should have already pulled up and I haven't, so let me pull that up for you guys.
We're so good at that. We are so good at having articles ready.
Oh, listen.
We're like the best at that. I think we're probably the best podcast on the internet
if you're watching
about having articles ready to go.
If you're watching this show, it's already on your screen, so if you want to, I'll scroll. That's right. I can't. I have to keep it there. I forgot how this podcast works.
We're good at this podcast.
We're so good at this podcast. I'm a professional. There it is. There's the article. Okay, going back to the screen. As I was going to say here, Drip, Nintendo states there's a reason for their acquisition. They say that they're going to keep Shiver to business as usual, which I think is interesting.
Bullshit.
Because let me go back to this article right quick, everybody. Nintendo says in this article they're going to keep Shiver as usual, content flowing as usual, and that will continue the commissions and ports that are developed for software from multiple platforms, including the Switch. That does sound a bit ridiculous. It's not unheard of to do something like that, because again, they're going to make money from commission jobs outside of Nintendo Switch stuff. But my question to you, Drip, is why would they do that?
No.
Why would
exactly?
Why would they want to do that?
Yeah.
Why would they want Shiver to?
You tell me. Give me one good reason why that would help anybody involved.
But I did say one already. Technically, they do make money. There's profit to be made on the commissions for other systems. But it's not all about the money. You don't just buy this company simply for money. I mean, if you were going to do that,
well, what are you doing at that point?
You should have bought somebody else who's worth more and actually,
right. But think about this scenario. So this company that you bought and own 100% of is working on a game for Microsoft or whoever. And then what are you going to, like, what are they going to do? What are you going to do? Like, oh, hey, I know we own you and we bought you because we need you to do these things. But if you get a second from what you're doing right now,
right,
just do this. Or it's either that or like, hey, stop doing that and come over here. So then you're pissing off the people that are paying you to do like, that doesn't work. There's no scenario in which that is an okay thing or going to work out.
Yeah, I would expect. Will not work. I would expect like some sort of company who just wants to own everything, like a Microsoft, just to acquire a business for the sake of profit. That would make sense. Nintendo does. I don't think. I mean, I'm not saying they're not money hungry. Don't get me wrong. We all know Nintendo loves their fucking cash. But what I mean is Nintendo has a very important vested interest in making sure their brand and games are top notch, and they pride themselves on that exact fact. They pride themselves that they make better games than their competition. And I think if you're a Nintendo fan, you agree with that. If you're not, you probably disagree. But that's okay.
Yeah, I did just put something on screen here. We got in the chat that it's possible they still have contracts with other companies.
That's a really good point.
That's a very valid point. But I can tell you this. Even if they do, once those are done, that's it. There's no way they're going to let them just keep doing other things. There's no way. It just doesn't work.
Yeah.
And I mean, we've seen that with other studio acquisitions too, where they've just kind of finished up what they've had going on, and then that's it. And they're in the dungeon. Like, these guys are now in the Nintendo dungeon. They work for Nintendo. But, I mean, it's fine to have, like, this is big for Nintendo to have this. Like, this type of a team, and I don't know if we want to get all the way into that just yet, but, like, this is massive for them to have. Like, this was the whole problem with the Switch.
Yeah.
It's ports.
Yeah, so let's go over a couple hypotheticals here before we get to that.
Okay.
What are they planning on doing? What is Nintendo planning on doing with Shiver? And of course, we just talked about.
Sorry, I'm late.
That's okay. You're late. We of course, we'll get to the fact. What Nintendo says first. Nintendo says they're going to keep them as according to plan, as normal operation goes for Shiver. Nintendo says, go at it. We're just, this is just a simple acquisition. Drip more so than me, but I sniff some bull crap on that. I do. I don't actually think that's what their plan is. But that is an option. That is one option that could be done after purchasing this company. The next option could be remain business as usual. Keeping up their works of port that's the same idea. That is the same idea, right? So another option would be to be engulfed by Nintendo. Okay, so take Nintendo acquires Shiver and they sparse out the talent within Shiver to different studios within Nintendo or whatever they call it. And just, Nintendo's like, you guys are talented. We see what you guys did with Hogwarts and what you guys did eventually.
Maybe they're just bringing them into like development teams.
You guys are talented. We need you guys within our ranks here. But that actually, thinking about it, Drip, that actually would never be the case. And here's why. Unless they're all cool with moving to Japan, that seems like a bit unlikely because, like you said, they're from Florida. You can still work remote.
You can work remote. I mean, it's not like you can't talk and do this. I mean, you can do it.
It'd be very difficult and silly to kind of just.
Yeah, I don't think that's what they're doing. I think the talent of what they do would be wasted. You have a few more you want to go over, or can I? Yeah. Can I go over mine?
The engulf Nintendo one is interesting because that is possible. Well, hold on. What's this next one? Take charge on all major. So I mean, go ahead, Drip. Go ahead.
Here's what I think they're going to do. I think one of two things, and both of these are great for us and Nintendo, and
it's a win-win-win for everybody.
People who like third-party games, because I think this is going to go one of two ways, and I could be wrong on both of these, and if I am, please leave us a comment and tell me how wrong I am on the podcast platform of your choice or on YouTube.
Or the 5-star review on Apple. We could do that too.
Or do that. I think that this is going to be more of a thing where they can get games not only looking better on the Switch, running better on the Switch, because what does Nintendo always have with their games that third parties don't? It's polish.
Yes.
Because they make the stuff. They are in-house. They know what's going on. They know every little detail about everything to make it run, make it do what it can do. They have all the tools. You bring in a port company to basically bring third-party games in and help with that. You're giving that team the tools, right? So instead of whatever, let's just say, for instance, I used this one earlier. We were talking. The Witcher 4 is announced. Or whatever. Let's say Rockstar's doing GTA 6 on the Switch 2, right? And instead of Rockstar they want it on the Switch 2, so they go out and they find a company to port it over to the Switch. Now you can collaborate with Nintendo, even if you have another company that you're using to port it. You can collaborate with Nintendo, and they have their own port specialists at this point who have that Nintendo sauce that they can bring in and help everything. Not only get done faster, but better. Yeah. It's going to be way more efficient. You're going to get games instead of waiting a year because you've got another team working on it, or they wanted to wait and see. You've got Nintendo right there helping you develop, doing all the things that need to be done to get it onto the Switch, because it's still going to be different. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's not like just because we have the Switch 2, it's going to go, it's on the PS5, so it can be on the Switch. That's not how it's going to go. We're not there. We will never be there. So this could bridge that thing where we're actually getting these games better looking, better running, and on time, day and date with the other ones. Now, there's another scenario, and this is the one I like more. I think this could be huge for Nintendo and making them even more profit, and which is just going to make things better for us. The more money Nintendo has to throw around, the better off we are as Nintendo consumers, because they're just going to keep doing more stuff. What if instead of going out to hire a team to port your game to the Switch, you can just come directly to Nintendo and be like, we want our game on your system. And Nintendo's like, cool, we can port it for you. You're going to give us money and we're going to take care of the whole thing for you. We can optimize it. We can do this. We can work with your teams. So it cuts out the middleman completely. There is no other third party, developer that's porting. It's Nintendo's porting unit, their division of what they do completely, working with that company just one-on-one, and you would still get day and date stuff. Nintendo's going to be making the money instead of, they would still probably get a cut of, a bigger cut, whatever, but it's going to help Nintendo, and we're going to get more games on the Switch. I think this whole thing of the third-party games, like some come, some don't, and then some come to the Switch and some are good and some come to the Switch and they're dog shit. Yeah. I think those days are probably going to be maybe not completely behind us, but way further in the background than they were with the Switch 1, because this is the reason they're doing this. It was a huge problem with the Switch, the ports, the third-party games not coming on time. And that's one of the biggest things that people have said about the Switch. Like, we want better performance. We want more third-party. We have our Nintendo games. They run great. They do exactly what we need them to do. Nobody's complaining about those. Everyone's complaining third party. This is a fix to that.
Yeah, and just some ideas. Some franchises that are not currently on the Switch. Let's start with one that is there, but partially, and that is Red Dead Redemption from Rockstar.
Yeah, the first one.
It's there. They just added recently, and by the way, phenomenal job. It looks
it's a great port.
Incredible. And I'll tell you something right now.
Who did that? I think Saber did that one, maybe.
Let me tell you why that's impressive, because, again, I have the Steam Deck, right, and I've been playing around with some ROMs. We're playing around with some emulation, I should say, on the Steam Deck. And Xbox 360 emulation is hard to do on the Steam Deck. And I tried booting up that game on the Steam Deck. It does not run well. Like maximum 15 frames per second with all the shrubbery, lighting effects, shadows, all of it off. It's atrocious. So the fact that the Switch can do it so easily clearly says that, they did a great job of that. And again, this is not Shiver. This is somebody else. I think Drip's looking it up, or it's Saber or something.
11 Studios.
The point is that it took that long to get the original game on there, but we still Red Dead 2, which is from what I hear, and Drip, you should talk about that more, but a phenomenal game, and also has multiplayer aspects to it. Would have been a great game for the Switch as well. It's a shame that's not on there.
It wouldn't. It would not. I don't think the Switch could do that game justice.
Well, no, that's what I'm. Well, yeah, the Switch couldn't. Yeah.
No, the Switch 2, yeah. The Switch, even like ports like The Witcher 3. Like if you go look at The Witcher, like not the new version of it, because they did just update it for like the PS5 and stuff, and it looks great.
Yeah.
But like the PS4 version of like The Witcher 3, it looks good.
Yeah.
But it's not like anything crazy. This Red Dead Redemption 2 was one of those games at the very end. You know what I mean? It was like the PS4 Pro era of the PlayStation 4 era. You know what I mean? It was the end. So everyone had really figured out the hardware. That game looks incredible, especially for what it's like. It looks incredible. It's so good. It would have not translated well.
The point I'm trying to make overall is that there are a lot of games at the current Switch, whether it's, lack of money and support port wise or hardware limitations or both, probably more accurately both. A lot of third-party games that are not in the Switch right now. And some of them can't, like Red Dead, but some of them should be that aren't on there right now. And that's a fault of everybody, right? It's a fault of Nintendo for the bad hardware. It's a fault from developers who don't want to take the time and the money spent to get the games on Nintendo platforms because of the limitations of the hardware.
Well, and that's what it comes down to, too.
It's really important that Nintendo takes the third parties incredibly seriously with the Switch, too. And I think they're going to, and this is just another way to show that I think they know they need to. Because go ahead.
That's very interesting to think about, though. Like, we don't know this to be 100% true, but like, this is all stuff we hope Nintendo is thinking in the background. This is all stuff that we want to hear from Nintendo. Like, yeah, we are taking third-party stuff very seriously, and we're going to make sure we have a team that can help port things and make sure we're getting everything to this. We're going to make sure it can run these things. Like, it's very promising because this is not Nintendo of 2016 or 2014. This is not the same Nintendo. You can tell there's been, and I've talked about this several times. I mean, how many times have I said this? Nintendo, since even the Switch was launched, has new leadership everywhere.
Yeah.
Everywhere. We don't know how they're going to start handling stuff, but I think we're starting to see it. I think we are starting to see it.
Yeah. I think we talked about earlier in the year where there was an acquisition or two, I think from Sony. But I think I was asking the questions like, why doesn't Nintendo do this? Why doesn't Nintendo make acquisitions? And again, this is not a big one.
This is with purpose. Yeah.
There's a reason. I don't know.
It's not like
Drip
the
and I
other
we may be dancing over it a little bit, maybe not right on it, but dancing around it. But there's a reason, and I'll tell you one thing: it ain't the reason that they gave. Why would they lie about this? That doesn't make sense. Why they would lie about?
Because it's Nintendo. They want
compulsive liars. Nintendo.
No, they want the element of surprise, man. That's what they want. That's what they do. They know it. Like you gotta stop and think about everything they do. It's not like they don't know what they're doing. And you can blame it on, just the structure of how Japanese businesses are run and this and that. You can do whatever you want, but dude, they know what they're doing. They know how to build the hype, and they keep everything under wraps as long as they possibly can to keep that hype exactly where they want it, when they want it, so they can peak with that hype at launch of whatever. They're masters of it. They do so well with it now. That's exactly what they're doing with this. They want this whole third-party thing to just be like, no, that's just what we do. Like, and everyone's gonna be like, oh my God, like, look at this. It's happening. It's happening.
Yeah.
Like, they don't need to say it right now. They don't need to say anything about it, and probably not saying anything about it and even giving people a clue. Because then by the time it happens and people start seeing it, they're gonna be like, oh yeah, we already knew this was gonna happen. So cool. Yeah, whatever, it's here. But when it does happen and we don't quite know, it's gonna be like, oh my God, like whatever new game is coming to the Switch 2 day one, and it looks like that. Holy crap. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Sales are going to be huge. People are going to come back to playing third-party games on the Switch because they look good.
Yeah. This is incredibly important for Nintendo. I can't stress enough.
It is. It's huge.
First party, again, we all know that people buy the Switch right now for first party. A lot of people just buy the Switch for third party, especially later in the Switch's life now. We have so many handheld options, legitimately good ones. Legion Go, Steam Deck, ROG Ally, just to name three of a sea of really good handheld options to play third-party games right now. And Nintendo was I wouldn't say the OG, but they really did. The Switch was started a revolution of these consoles.
Oh no, they started it. They did. I mean, that was it.
Yeah.
I mean, think about this.
They instigated
think about
it for
what the
sure.
landscape was before the Switch as far as handhelds.
I can't remember any other company since the PSP.
Yeah.
Any legitimate
Sony
ones.
was like the only one doing anything, and they'd stopped way before that.
Mm-hmm.
Nintendo comes out with the hybrid, and then look how many we have now. Look how many we have now. It's insane.
Yeah. So at the beginning of the Switch's life, that was kind of the way to go because there wasn't much else to play with.
Yeah, and they didn't have any competition. That's another thing.
Right. That's what I'm
that kind of drives this entire thing.
Yes.
Yeah. They didn't have to worry about anybody else doing anything to take that piece of their business that they were building, this hybrid model. They didn't have to worry about it. Now they look around the landscape and they're like, wow, we're really far behind. We're really far behind.
Yeah.
I mean, even the worst one runs everything better than the Switch runs. You know what I mean? Even the worst one runs circles around what the Switch can do as far as like any AAA game, really.
Yeah,
I mean, what would be the worst one? Is it the Steam Deck?
It depends who you ask, and I think people get offended when you say that because the Steam Deck is probably their favorite.
Well, that's
but
fine,
I think from a power standpoint and operating system, Linux is a bit limiting, and there's not a ton of power compared. Well, there's not more. So the other devices have more raw power than the Steam Deck do as well. So I think the Steam Deck technically would be quote unquote the worst one. I wouldn't call it the worst.
Okay,
I would actually call it probably the best one.
It runs laps around the Switch.
Yeah, I mean, Windows. You ever use Windows on a touchscreen smaller than 10 inches? Even at 10 inches? I mean, it's not a good experience. So, and at least the Linux operating system has the Steam Deck OS, where makes it.
Yeah, which is nice. Yeah,
which makes it really nice.
Even
and easy
leaving
to use.
the game mode and going into like the Linux on the Steam Deck is like, oh god.
Yeah, it's not great. It really it's good, but it's not great.
Unless you have a mouse and keyboard hooked up, it's impossible.
It's difficult.
It's very difficult. But I mean, I don't know. I feel like we can probably kind of wrap this up at this point. But like, I mean, this is huge. This is massive for third-party companies, which is one of the big issues we have with the Switch still, even though it's sold. It's probably going to end up being the best-selling console of all time when it's all said and done. We still had major problems with third-party. And that should not be an issue for the greatest selling console of all time.
Yeah,
I think this is the step in that direction to start fixing that for the next one, which isn't going to be the greatest selling console of all time, but it is the successor to it. So we should probably fix the issues we had with the first one.
Guys, don't forget that if you have 1 week to leave a 5-star review on our podcast on Apple. So make sure to, if you guys just want to search up Drip and Jeeb on Google, Apple comes up right away when you guys search it up. Leave us a 5-star review, say whatever you want, and you'll be entered to win that eShop gift card that we're giving away next Wednesday on the show. Also, tomorrow night, Thursday, May 23rd, will be the members podcast. If you're a member of this podcast, you have live shows every single month from Drip and I, and we're going to be watching old podcast episodes tomorrow night. So that's and they're going to be cringy. And they're going to be hilarious. So I think if you guys are not already a member, you're going to want to see it. If you've been watching us for a little while and you guys are invested in us and our content, you're going to find this pretty funny to watch our old content. So that's going to be a blast.
Hilarious.
Yeah. Was there another announcement? Oh, yeah. John Ebo. Communication error, guys. Fight us. Mario Kart. Next Friday. Be there.
Nothing.
Or be square. Don't you dare call us out again. The Mario gods over here. Mario Kart gods. Those of you hanging out in stream, thank you so much. We're going to move over to the after show, so don't go anywhere. Those of you listening to this podcast on audio platforms or on YouTube watching it, we're going to sign off for now, and we're going to see you guys next week.
Later.